Bersa Thunder 380 with threaded barrel. You know, of course, for the purposes of testing the gun for how the gun comes, all of the what's for dinner and things we're gonna have to do without the can, but I had to show it with the can on, especially since my very tired old, I think 2nd generation Griffin Armament Revolution 9 is kind of frozen in place, so it only works on certain thread adapters and only works on fixed barrels, which the Bersa Thunder 380 is. For those of you that don't have a can yet, that means you can get a simpler can and a smaller can and have it thread right back on here. So we'll start things off with full mag plus 1. We've got Fiocchi's 95 grain, and the 95 grain moves at 960 feet per second, which those of you who are science nerds would know is subsonic. So this should be good and quiet. Full mag plus 1, here we go. It was nice and quiet. Quite a bit of blowback, and we've got some slow motion footage I want to show you of how much the additional back pressure of the suppressor increases the cyclic rate of the gun. I'll roll in some comparison of that, and it's pretty amazing how much faster this runs. It gives you kind of a thuddy feel in the hand versus when there's no can. What's for dinner for 380 starts at 50 grain, 1500 feet per second claimed. That thing is moving. Take a look in that crater. Interesting. Liberty Civil Defense. Then we go through some 60 grain, 65 grain, sorry about the backlighting there, some 80 grain, 90 grain, 91, 94, this is a hollow point, 95, 95, and 95. I find it ironic that the Browning round is snubby top, considering that John Moses Browning is the one who invented 380 and he made it a round nose. We'll see which the Bersa Thunder 380 likes and what it doesn't. 3 shots of each load, looking to see if it picks up off of slide lock, if it generates enough energy to cycle the gun and pick up and feed a second round, and will it lock the slide open. The third round is kind of just a bonus there to confirm and minimize variables. Kicking it off with the Liberty Civil Defense. This is a 50 grain, very fast moving, claimed 1500 feet per second. Keep in mind with the threaded barrel, this Thunder 380 is going to get a little more velocity than most 380s, which is pretty cool. We'll be aiming at target number 1. I've had some issues with slide lock on this gun, so I'm going to be slingshotting the first round to each one. I will also, since I've heard so many complaints, start off decocked. First shot will be double action, then the 2 single actions. Target number 1 with Liberty Civil Defense. Did not get slide lock. That could be me. Could be that this is a very light load. Next up, at 10 grains heavier, the RMP from Inceptor has a 60 grain, advertised velocity of 1230 feet per second on target number 2. Decock. Don't want to hear any more complaints about that, folks. That stuff always smells funny. Next up, Liberty Ammunition's Civil Trainer. This is a 65 grain, advertised velocity of 1210 for target number 3. God, this racks so smoothly, it feels like it's not chambering. And decock, back onto fire. Ooh, target malfunction. Next up, the Legend Pro. This is a 80 grain, moving at 1050 feet per second for target number 4. See what I mean? It just loads it. There's like no question. decock. That was smooth shooting. Target number 5 is going to be the Hornady Critical Defense. This is a 90 grain, their FTX, the one with a little eraser shoved in the end of it, little red dot. Man, that loads so smooth. Decock, back on fire. Gotta say, these heavier loads feel a little nicer in the hand than the lighter stuff did. On to number 6 is Tool Ammo, 91 grain. This is a steel case, and I'm not sure if it's a zinc washed jacket or steel of some sort, but it has a silvery look to it. For target number 6. Decock, back on fire. Ooh, stouter recoil. Ooh, that's hot recoil. Yeah, that might be inexpensive stuff, folks, but it's not pleasant to shoot. Stepping it up in weight, we've got 95 grain now from Lawman. This is your classic copper and brass combo. Round nose, as John Moses Browning had intended. It fed so well. Of course, everything's been feeding well on this gun. Decock, target number 7, here we go. Love the reset on this trigger. Weighing in at 94 grains, we've got a jacketed hollow point from PPU. This is a classic hollow point with the exposed lead on the end. That noise was me making a mess. Decock, and target number 8. Smooth. That shot very nicely. 95 grains again. This is the BPT Performance Target Ammo from Browning. It's got a nice black nickel case. Black nickel helps with lubrication and corrosion resistance for ammo that's going to be sitting carry, for example, for a long time. But this is a full metal jacket. Target number 9. Fairly nicely. And our last load, a Winchester white box, the classic cheap stuff, 95 grain, advertised velocity of 955, a little bit slower than the Fiocchi, probably saves Winchester a grain of powder or so. Decock, and target 10. For 5 shots from 7 yards, I'm going to be using the Fiocchi 95 grain that we've got. And to make things a little interesting, I'm going to do one group with the can on, the other without. Must warn you though that the sights are not taller than the can. So that grouping will be interesting for sure. Right square, and I will start off decocked. 5 shots from 7 yards with the Fiocchi. Hold that one. And now, running the can longer than the gun is, we'll do 5 shots from 7 yards with the same Fiocchi ammunition. Gonna have to be guessing where my sight's supposed to be hitting. I hope you guys heard that cool sound when it came out. Did that come through, the little thunk through the suppressor? That's pretty neat. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna clear this and do it one more time. I think that was pretty cool, if you guys don't mind. You can skip ahead like 2 or 3 seconds if you want to get to the part where I do it again. Here we go. So we can get near the mic. All right, decocked, back on the left square in the blind with the can on it. Really, it's just an excuse to use the can again. This might also show us a shift in the point of impact from the can, but I can't tell because I can't see. Yeah, it does bring it down for sure. Vertical stringing is usually shooter error, so aside from it dropping it about 2 inches or so at 7 yards, still doable, usable. All I did was look at what I wanted to hit and then line up the sights as if I was aiming. I just couldn't see the target, but you know, when you're target shooting, you're focused on the front sight anyways. The target should be out of focus. So the suppressor kind of forced me to do that, and mediocre grouping, but I'll take it. So thoughts on the Thunder 380. Of course, we've already reviewed one in the past. That's how I was able to have 2 mags to make the what's for dinner test go a little easier. This one slide locks back on an empty mag. I can hold the slide lock up and remove the magazine and everything's good, and then it goes forward. So this would need some warranty attention probably, but the gun itself, as far as shooting, you can't beat the accuracy potential of a fixed barrel. I mean, my groups weren't perfect, but they're still, I think, acceptable. For me, they're acceptable. If you guys want to judge, sure, start your own channel. No kidding. But you hit the Walther PPK styling a little bit, I want to say larger, so it's a little easier to hold. And like the PPK, when you've got a larger 380 that you can get your whole hand on, at least when the pinky rest is there. See, I'm dangling with the pinky rest. I can get my whole hand on there. That gives you plenty to hold on to. It's lightweight thanks to the aluminum frame, and yet it still weighs more than those polymer guns. At least it kind of feels that way. It feels more solid in the hand, and it makes shooting really pleasant. You know, sometimes these blowback operations, recoil can be a little violent. Not the case with this guy. It is a little snappier with the can on there, but it just feels like a hard thud. And you probably saw in the slow-mo comparison that with the can on there, it's really picking up the speed of this slide. A heavier spring could fix that, and as you saw on the tabletop, these are easy enough to field strip and swap that spring out. I'm sure there's somebody out there with heavy springs specifically for running cans on this, or there will be soon, since the threaded barrel thing is rather new. Another of note is the little rubber ring that was on the barrel that in the tabletop I was concerned might be getting worn out already. It died. So to replace that, you're looking for something that fits that what is it, 1/2 by 2/8 by 3/8 threading, and probably something made out of silicone so that heat won't damage it. Other than that, you've got the classic Thunder 380. Over 1 million of these things have been sold in the US. That was a few years ago. So there's probably going to be another 1 million now with a threaded barrel. Even if you don't own a suppressor, you're getting a little more velocity out of there. And I would argue it feels a little smoother than the short one does. Just because that extra barrel length, extra velocity means extra energy on target. Also means in a blowback system that you've got more dwell time for that pressure to build to cycle it, and that helps keep the thing reliable. But wait, there's more. I can't resist the chance to play with the can on a fixed barrel pistol because those just don't happen. Got 7 rounds. I'm gonna shoot at the big circle, try some doubles, just whatever, and play with it. So 7 rounds. The first one will be a single shot, and then we'll try some doubles. See how this goes. I'll be doing ready ups with the can on and the Thunder 380. So I could use some more practice doing that, but you know what? It was still a whole lot of fun. And tell me that wasn't cool to hear the thump and then the brass on the ground. You only get that with the can and subsonic ammo. And fortunately, 95 grain 380 is subsonic by its very nature. Cool.